Okay, this is just me trying to, I guess, think out loud, trying to decipher some of the logic from the main drop. So, looking at this particular chart, the problem I have for Bitcoin, problem I have with Bitcoin right now, is all of the impulsive moves to the upside or the bullish moves. You'd expect to see more of a bullish type impulse move in terms of Elliott wave. So we've clearly seen this on the move down, going back to the rocket call, the roadmap in terms of Elliott. We can clearly see on this that we had the all-time high giving us an A, a B, and a C move. So I'll just change this to something like white for now. And at this particular point, we got a line in the sand. We then come sideways, which suggests we're still part of this corrective move. So I'm kind of confused as to what this is in terms of the pattern right now. Now, we're using some software called Advanced Get, and the assumption for the Advanced Get is suggesting that this is our new current zero. We've got a potential 1 with a 2. Now, if this is the assumption, clearly we might be sitting at a 3. So let's assume that this is a 1, 2, 3 move. We then have to break this down on a smaller time frame as to a 5 wave move within the 0 to 1 as well as the 2 to 3. So just trying to do that, what I'll do is I'll stick this in just to kind of draw this rough. You clearly get the idea of where we sit in. So if we come back to assume this is the 1, we look at this being the 2, we look at this being, sorry, the 2 there, and then ultimately for the 3, we would ultimately be expecting a 4 move back before a larger 5 move. Just in theory, right? Now, this is just me, like I said, thinking out loud rather than this is exactly what I'm suggesting we are doing. So if I now put this on, which is what I've done is I've put an image overlay in this image. So on the assumption that we are where the software is suggesting that we are, we've clearly got the 1 move in the center there, down for a 2, pull back 3, 4, and 5. So the one thing I can agree with is we are expecting some kind of pullback now around this level, giving us the 3 to 4 move. But drilling down a little bit deeper, what I'm trying to get my head around is the assumption of this giving us the starting point here and working out where we are and why we are within this move here. So what I'll do is I'll just move this away a second and hide it. And therefore, I want to come in to this move and just see how efficient the move is or isn't, and whether or not we can break down any Elliott logic from the initial 1 to 2 move. Now, for me, we should be seeing an impulsive move, which means we've got, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. We're going to go this one. We're going to come back there. If we assume this being the 3, down for 4 and 5, that doesn't look like the conventional Elliott pattern. Now, just going through some of the rules, obviously the forecasts, the projections from the Fibonacci ratios, from this level being 0 up to 1. Now, we would expect to see on a smaller time frame again a 5 move within this move, and I would have liked to have seen an ABC, which clearly we don't have on the smaller time frame. So at this particular point, the problem I have with both the 0 to 1 and the 1 to 2 is it doesn't fit your conventional Elliott move overall. We then have the 2 to 3, which, although it doesn't necessarily have to be the longest, it can't be the shortest, which means this one does actually validate a potential move there in terms of Elliott. But just thinking purely on the Fibonacci ratios, this doesn't look attractive enough for actually being a 1-2 move, okay? So the problem I have there is this is currently in question. We then have a corrective move down from 1 to 2, and the way that I'm reading this right now is we've got this kind of move in here. We're gonna have to come back down, down again, up, down. So if we were assuming this being a move in terms of the corrective nature, we'd looking to see what type of combo move because clearly this isn't an ABC. So if we were to assume an A, a B, a C, we've got another A, a B, a C, we've got an A, a B, a C, which means we've technically got a 3, a 3, and a 3 sitting in here. So that's really something that's quite ugly in terms of a move back. And I do believe we're actually missing 1-3 there. So again, there's a question mark for me in this particular move. So we now have a question mark followed by a question mark. And therefore, the last move up, I could potentially draw this and say, okay, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's go 0, let's go 1, let's go 2. We're going to have to pull up a 3. We're going to have to come down for a 4, and then the 4 ultimately all the way up to 5. So again, it doesn't necessarily have to be, although it usually is and often is, the largest, the most impulsive move 3. There is actually the fact that it's not the smallest, because the 0 to 1 would be the smallest in this particular count, and therefore we've got another potential move here. But the question mark comes in clear as day. We've only got a 1 move here. I don't think that's going to be good enough for me for giving an ABC, and therefore I don't like this move, and therefore I'm going to cross this one off. In terms of this 1, 2, 3 move, we would assume from 2 up to 3, another 5 wave move in here. So unless we've got a very long 1, a 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. Now the argument for me there is clearly the 3 would actually be the smallest. So that invalidates that particular move. And therefore, all of this move is actually brought into question. We've got an invalidation, we've got an invalidation, we've got a question mark, we've got a missing 3, we've got a question mark. And therefore, the reason I'm still not very bullish on a 12, 13, 14 grand move as a whole is that the actual move is not making much logic when breaking it down the way that I'm trying to break this down. So I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this is the only way and the only method, but it's something that, given the respect that we've seen on the price action on the way up and the price action on the way down, the fact that we've got a massive question mark in terms of some formation corrective there would suggest that this is still corrective all the way through. Okay, so even if we were to take only this move and we start our count from here, the one problem we have is that this move was actually lower there. So this also invalidates that move for me. And until we start seeing some kind of corrective move complete, the fact that this is still playing the games even on the smaller time frames, we taking out lows, we going out and creating new highs, we're just pipping new highs, creating new lows, means that for me personally, I still feel this is very much corrective rather than impulsive and gaining momentum as a whole. We've also got the stochastic on these time frames, on the bigger time frames, the daily, the weekly, being well overbought. We've got a declining volume profile as the price is moving on up, giving us bearish divergence as a whole, just purely based on the volume. And therefore, a lot of the logic is saying, hey, we're not quite bullish yet. I think there's a lot of greed out there in the retail space right now and in the retail sector. And I think looking at things like the crypto quant positions and the bank flows, I don't think there's a lot of institutional money flowing right now. I think the volume is also confirming that it's not a lot flowing all the way through. I think these are, perma bulls kind of hoping and jumping on the hype that this is going to 250,000, this time before Christmas. I think, unfortunately, that doesn't feel like the sentiment right now, bigger picture. So whilst retail sentiment is bullish and clearly full of greed, I just feel that the overall sentiment, we're expecting some big shock back down. So I would like to say that that's kind of just a view on what I'm seeing at the moment. And although this video is going out into YouTube, I kind of feel that this was more my personal kind of thoughts put out loud as to why I think we are where we are and why I don't like this bullish move as a whole. So I hope that obviously helps somebody out there, and I hope you guys have a great week and just take it easy on this. I don't think we're quite ready yet.